Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you the player ratings from Manchester United's 1-1 draw against Chelsea at Old Trafford. So start with David De Gea. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. He made some fantastic saves in that first half. He denied Kai Havertz 2 or 3 times. He made a save to deny N'Golo Kante, and he also denied Timo Werner. De Gea has been sensational this season. He's regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Moving on to Diego Dalot, I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. I thought defensively he was poor, and he offered very little going forward. Diego Dalot is our first choice right back under Rangnick. Dalot played well in the 3-1 defeat to Arsenal last weekend. He hit the post twice in that game, so he was unlucky not to score. Do you think Dalot will leave Man United this summer because he's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation before? Last season, Dalot had a loan spell with AC Milan. Reflecting on that, he gained some experience. Man United got Dalot from Porto. Man United paid around £19 million. Dalot's contract expires next year. Moving on to Victor Lindelof. He's going to get a 5 out of 10 average performance by him. Lindelof, I don't think he'll leave Man United this summer, but he could leave next year. Lindelof's been at Manchester United for over 4 years. We got Lindelof from Benfica back in 2017 for 31 million. Lindelof's got a contract with the club until 2024. Moving on to Raphael Varane, he's going to get a 6 out of 10. I thought he enjoyed a pretty good game against Chelsea. Varane brought the ball out well from the back, and he was very effective in the air. Not so long ago, Varane returned from injury. Varane has endured quite a few injuries since he became a Manchester United player. Most of the time when Varane plays, he seems to make the difference. Well, he is regarded as one of the best centre-halves in the world. He's highly experienced. He's got a good pedigree behind him because look at the amount of silverware he won when he was at Real Madrid, and he was a long-serving player at Real Madrid. He was with them for 10 years. Man United signed Varane in the summer of last year. Paid around 34 million up front. Varane's under contract with Man United until 2025. There's an option of a further year. Alex Telles, he's going to get a 2 out of 10. I thought he enjoyed a poor game. Telles has been poor now in the last couple of months. Obviously, Man United have had to play Telles because obviously Luke Shaw is not available. Looks like Luke Shaw's out for the season. Telles, though, has appeared to be our first choice left back under Ralph Rangnick. Telles played in the 3-1 defeat to Arsenal last weekend. He weren't that good in that game. He got a yellow card. He did have a good chance from long range, produced a good save from Aaron Ramsdale. I reckon Tellez will be leaving Man United this summer. This will be his last season at the club. Man United got Tellez from Porto back in 2020. Got him in a deal worth 15.4 million. Moving on to Nemanja Matic. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. You know, he made an impact. Matic looked good on the ball. He made some good runs. And he got the assist for the Ronaldo goal. It was a lovely pass by Matic to find Ronaldo. Matic also got the assist for the Ronaldo goal in the 3-1 defeat to Arsenal last weekend. Matic has started a lot of games recently because obviously we've got the likes of Fred and Pogba injured, so obviously there's been no other option but to play Matic and McTominay in the centre midfield. On Thursday, Matic was reuniting with Chelsea. As you all know, a few weeks ago, Matic announced he will be leaving Manchester United this summer, despite having 12 months on his contract. We got Matic from Chelsea back in 2017, got him in a deal worth 40 million. He isn't one of our first choice midfielders like I mentioned before, but despite that he's still being given his opportunities. He's the only predominant centre defensive midfielder Man United have got at the moment. Moving on to Scott McTominay, I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. He enjoyed a poor game. For me, McTominay is not good enough to represent the club. He has had his good games at United, especially under Rangnick. Revert back to earlier on this season, I did say McTominay had been one of our best performers under Rangnick. McTominay is still young, a lot of development in him. He's been part of the club for a long time. Revert back to 2020, he committed his future to the club. He signed a 5-year contract with Man United. Moving on to Bruno Fernandez. He's going to get a 4 out of 10. Another poor performance by him. Bruno Fernandez played in the 3-1 defeat to Arsenal last weekend. He missed a penalty in that game. He played in the 4-0 defeat to Liverpool at Anfield, but prior to that game, Fernandez was involved in a car crash, but he still managed to play against Liverpool. We've struggled to get the best out of Fernandez since Ronaldo re-signed for the club. Fernandez, was very good last season. He was far superior last season to how he has been this season. Overall, though, Fernandez is a very good player. He's one of our best signings since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Earlier on this season, Fernandez signed a new contract with Man United until 2026. There's an option of a further year. Fernandez, when he signed the contract, his wages doubled. He now receives £240,000 a week. He's been a United player for over 2 years. Man United got him from Sporting Lisbon back in January 2020. Man United initially paid around £47 million. Moving on to Marcus Rashford. He's going to get a 2 out of 10. Rashford really struggled. He looked poor on the ball, and his decision making was poor. Rashford has endured a lot of poor games this season. A lot of United fans, including me, have said that Rashford has not been the same player. since he had that operation on his shoulder. Rashford missed the first 2 months of this season with that shoulder problem. Earlier on this season, don't forget, he had a minor leg injury. Rashford, though, is a good player overall. Rashford has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, especially throughout the course of this season. I don't think he'll leave Man United this summer, but he may leave next year. His contract expires next year. Earlier on this season, it said Man United want Marcus Rashford to stay at the club despite his wretched run of form. And earlier on this season, Rashford told his friends that he wants to quit Man United this summer. Rashford's been part of the club for a long time, came up our academy and that. He's been a United player since the age of 7 and he broke into our senior squad back in 2016. You can play Rashford on the left, you can play him on the right, and you can play him centrally, so he's versatile. You seem to get the best out of Rashford when he's playing on the left wing. Sometimes he can play well on the right wing, but I don't think he's good when he's playing centrally. Moving on to Anthony Elanga, I'm going to give him a 3 out of 10. He weren't that good against Chelsea on Thursday. Elanga's had some poor games, but on the other side of things, he's had his good games since he broke into Man United's first team squad. Elanga played in the 3-1 defeat to Arsenal last weekend. And he had a couple of chances in that game, so he was unlucky not to score. If you do remember rightly, Elanga came off the bench and scored a late equaliser against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League last 16, first leg. He also scored in the 4-2 win against Leeds at Ellen Road. Don't forget, earlier on this season, Elanga got racially abused on social media because he missed a decisive penalty against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. I totally disagreed with him getting racially abused. Elanga, has been part of the club for a long time. He joined Man United's academy at the age of 12. And he's got a contract until 2026. There's an option of a further year. Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm going to give him a 8 out of 10. Ronaldo rescued Manchester United again. He scored a second half equaliser. It was a fine strike by Ronaldo. It was his first Premier League goal against Chelsea. It was his 17th Premier League goal since he re-signed for the club, and now Ronaldo has 23 goals in all competitions. Ronaldo scored in the 3-1 defeat to Arsenal last weekend. Ronaldo missed the game against Liverpool at Anfield because Ronaldo announced that his baby son had passed away. Prior to kick-off between Liverpool and Man United at Anfield, there was a 7-minute applause for Ronaldo. Since Ronaldo re-signed as well, he's got 2 hat-tricks for the club. Ronaldo scored a hat-trick in the 3-2 win against Norwich at Old Trafford. That was his 60th hat-trick in his career, and he got a hat-trick in the 3-2 win against Tottenham earlier on this season. Do you think Ronaldo will leave Man United this summer? Well, earlier on this season, Erik ten Hag said that he doesn't want Ronaldo as part of his plans for next season. Man United re-signed Ronaldo last summer for 20 million, with add-ons included. His contract at the club expires next year. There's an option to extend for the further year. He's the highest earner at Man United at the moment. Ronaldo, he receives £480,000 a week. On Thursday against Chelsea, Manchester United brought substitutions on. We saw Phil Jones come on. I'll give Phil Jones a 6 out of 10. I thought he made an impact when he came on, to be fair. It was Phil Jones' third Premier League appearance in like 2 years. Jones started in the 4-0 defeat to Liverpool, and he played in the 1-0 defeat to Wolves at Old Trafford earlier on this season. In that particular game, he was our best player. Jones should be leaving Man United this summer. He should have left in January. Revert back to January, Jones was close to making a move to Bordeaux. This season has been Phil Jones' 11th season at Man United. His contract at the club expires next year. We saw Garnacho come on and make his first team debut. I'll just give him a 6 out of 10. And Juan Mata came on. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Mata came on and reunited with Chelsea. So that is your player ratings for Manchester United's 1-1 draw with Chelsea. Manchester United weren't that good against Chelsea on Thursday. Chelsea dominated the vast majority of the game. They kept the possession well, they passed the ball well, and they had some very good chances. Chelsea, though, were wasteful in front of goal. Like I mentioned earlier, Havertz had around 2 or 3 good chances. Werner had a chance. N'Golo Kante had a good chance. And Reece James hit the post. Chelsea's goal came from Marcos Alonso. It was a good volley. It was from an angle, was the volley. Kai Havertz got the assist for the Marcos Alonso goal. But Manchester United are now winless in their last 3 league games. Man United are still missing players. Let me put that into the equation. Obviously, Pogba's out. Pogba is out for the season. We've got Luke Shaw out for the season. Cavani's still injured. Sancho, he's not available at the moment. I think due to personal reasons, is it? Now, Lingard's out due to personal reasons. And Wan-Bissaka recently picked up an injury. Fred's obviously been injured as well. So there you go. There again though on Thursday, Chelsea were missing around 3 or 4 players. Obviously there was no Ben Chilwell. Ben Chilwell is out for the season. There was no Callum Hudson-Odoi. He's injured. There was no Mateo Kovacic. He's injured. And there was no Ross Barkley because Ross Barkley has had a virus. Manchester United have drawn both times with Chelsea this season. Drew with them at Old Trafford 1-1 on last Thursday. And Man United drew with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge 1-1 earlier on this season. I reckon Chelsea are going to finish in the top 4. Chelsea have a good manager in Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel has been the Chelsea manager for over a year. Chelsea appointed him in as the manager back in January 2021. Tuchel has got a contract with Chelsea until 2024. Tuchel has won the Champions League as the Chelsea manager. Chelsea won the Champions League last season. They beat Man City in the final. Tuchel last season got Chelsea to the FA Cup final, but they lost the final to Leicester. This season, Tuchel, got Chelsea to the Carabao Cup final. They lost that to Liverpool on penalties, and he's got Chelsea to this season's FA Cup final. Chelsea will be playing Liverpool in the final. Before Chelsea, Tuchel managed PSG. He won quite a few trophies with them. Before then, he managed Borussia Dortmund. He won trophies with them, and before then managed Mainz 05 and Augsburg. Like I've mentioned, Chelsea have sacked a lot of managers in a short period of time. Chelsea have sacked around 12 managers since Roman Abramovich bought the club. Last season, Chelsea sacked Frank Lampard. Despite Frank Lampard being a Chelsea legend, Frank Lampard is now the Everton manager. You know, if Everton do go down this season, I'm expecting Everton to sack him. Lampard's not Everton's long-term manager. At one point, Lampard managed Derby. That's before he went to Chelsea. Before Chelsea had Maurizio Sarri, Chelsea sacked him. Sarri only endured one season with Chelsea. Sarri, though, did win the Europa League and he got Chelsea to the League Cup final, but that wasn't enough to save his job. Before Chelsea had Antonio Conte. Conte did win the Premier League in his first season with Chelsea. Conte is now the Tottenham manager. Don't forget, at one point, Man United tried to get Antonio Conte. Don't forget, Jose Mourinho endured 2 spells with Chelsea. He did well in his first spell, but he weren't that good in his second spell. Chelsea, of course, sacked Mourinho. And before, Chelsea had Di Matteo. At one point, they had Gus Higgins. At one point, they had Rafa Benitez as the interim manager. Chelsea sacked him. A lot of years ago, Chelsea had Avram Grant. They fired him. At one point, they had Scarara. They sacked him. They had Villas Boas. Was that back in, 2012? Something like that. Back in the 09-10 season, Chelsea had Carlo Ancelotti, and Carlo Ancelotti won some trophies when he was the Chelsea manager. So they're a lot of the managers that Chelsea Football Club have had. As you all know, Roman Abramovich is selling Chelsea because of the war between Ukraine and Russia. I'm hearing that Lewis Hamilton wants to buy Chelsea. Lewis Hamilton is a big Chelsea fan. But Roman Abramovich is owned Chelsea for a lot of years. He's rich, he's a billionaire, he's Roman Abramovich. So there you go. Man United's next game is Brentford on Monday the 2nd of May. The preview will be coming up for that game after this video. Recently, I gave you the news on Ralf Rangnick. Ralf Rangnick has been appointed as the new manager of Austria. Ralf Rangnick has signed a 2-year contract with Austria. Rangnick, though, will still continue at Man United in a consultancy role until 2024. As you all know, Rangnick is Man United's interim manager until the end of the season. Then he's expected to take up a consultancy role. Rangnick's been Man United's interim manager now for a good 4 months or so. Before Man United, Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. Rangnick's endured 1 transfer window as Man United's interim manager. Unfortunately, he didn't get backed in this year's January transfer window. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes on the channel if you do consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very soon.